And there we have it. I think we're live. Welcome everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy snowy Wednesday here in Boise, Idaho. Just a beautiful, beautiful December day. Hope everyone's holidays were great. Thank you to everyone that bought a Six So Here We Are shirt or hoodie for the holidays. I saw everyone who sent me them on Instagram. And if you didn't buy one, that's okay. You still have time. They're still in the store. You should definitely go buy one right now. We have these sick new colors like this blue long sleeve that'll keep you not that warm, but you know, warmer. I talked to Lana today. I think she might be coming in next week. So no promises. She always says she's going to come in and never does. Fun times on the live stream last week. Holy cow. Cannibalism in North Idaho. Anytime I do something with North Idaho, it's always just an absolute shit show. Am I allowed to say that? A lot of opinions on that one. I remember when I was real early in the YouTube channel, I was posting a couple North Idaho videos, like real kiddie stuff, like real fun, happy stuff, like here's a ropes course you can do, here's the Hiawatha Trail. And I posted a video about Hudson's hamburgers, and the next day I woke up with this like string of comments, and it was really strange. It was like 20 comments. And the first one started with something just about the hamburger shop. It then escalated to, if I ever see you in North Idaho, I'm going to get you, to finally, like, I'm coming down to Boise. And we ended up having, the FBI got involved. It was nuts. This guy, he wasn't a very smart guy because he had YouTube videos of his trailer with the license plate visible. So the FBI ended up paying him a visit. But man, anytime I do something on North Idaho, it's just woo! So fun. I had some, it's like all I said was North Idaho was a beautiful, wild, and strange place. And by the way, North Idaho is not a different state. I'm talking about the state that I live in, just Idahoans in general. Some of them didn't like that. There was a lot of Randy Weaver support comments I got. There was one lady that tried to convince me that the cannibal was a California issue. It's like, gosh, Idahoans and their California issues. Like, she was trying to tell me that he was in prison in California and ended up beating up his cellmate and biting a guard. And then, so California released him, and then he came up to North Idaho. It's like, not exactly sure how jail works, but I'm pretty sure you can't just beat up your cellmate and bite a guard, and they're like, all right, man, like, we're going to have to let you go. I'm sorry. It was real fun having you, but you're causing all these issues here, and so you're just going to have to go. Like, you're getting fired from your job. That California thing, man. Whew. What an interesting mentality. It's like, so fun. Got one for Christmas, John. Thanks, Warren. This is pretty much how the live stream goes nowadays, if you can't tell. I open because not many people are here in the beginning. Kind of like, I need some time to kind of get in a rhythm, talking, because it's really weird when you first hit that go live button and it's just like this camera staring at you. So I just kind of rant, like whatever, just grinding my gears for the first 10 minutes, get it off my chest, and then we go into the hiking and the gear stuff. So I think that's how I'll do these live streams from now on. So just get used to it. First 5-10 minutes is just some good old ranting fun, and then we'll get into it. But I had an interesting chat today for an hour-long chat before I jumped on here with Dan Becker. If anyone knows Dan Becker, he is a big-time YouTuber. He does gear reviews, hiking and backpacking gear reviews, and he's hiring right now. He's hiring a professional videographer, editor. So I thought it'd just kind of be fun to apply for the job and just see what Dan was up to. So I applied this morning and got a phone call this afternoon, and of course he wants to hire me. Come on. It would involve me moving to Kenosha, Wisconsin, which I really didn't want to do. But I think that I will end up doing some work with Dan this year, which is super exciting, on some of his backpacking trips. You won't get to see any of that on my channel, but you'll get to see it on Dan's channel. Basically, I'll be making a much bigger YouTuber's YouTube videos. It's kind of fun, kind of weird. It's like, wonder how that works. But it was really fun to talk to Dan. He was a real cool guy. Really interesting just hearing his side of things, hearing his journey and his process, and just finding some stuff out. All right, I've got a little cold today, so if you hear that, I apologize. Let's just jump into this hike. Why not? I'm ready. I'm warmed up. I've ranted all I wanted to. I was gonna say more about North Idaho, but there's no point. I mean, there's no point. I'm just wasting my breath trying to defend the things that I say. It's just like, you'll never win with these people. So let's talk about this hike. Really fun hike. The Danskin Mountains, the Danskin Mountain Range. I have never been over to that area, and but it was something real easy to get to. It was less than an hour away, kind of in the Blacks Creek area. And like I said in the video, usually that area is all dirt bike, four-wheeler area. But since I went nice and late in the season, I guess. Is it late in the season? Is it the end of the season? Is it a different season? I'm not sure. Because I went in the winter season, I had the whole area to myself, which was a little unnerving. Obviously, if you watched the video, you saw the huge cat tracks on the trail. Very, very fun. I know a lot of the outfitters and guides I work with hunt cougars. I posted a picture today on my Instagram stories of a gal who had just hunted one. She was holding it. This thing was massive. It was bigger than her. I had no idea. She was holding it like this up, and the thing was just bigger than her. And it's like, you think of those things, and I can't really wrap my head around how big one actually is. I remember a story a couple years ago where one killed a horse in Twin Falls, like an actual real full-size adult horse. So, I mean, they're big. I hope that bear spray works. I mean, I'm told it works on them, but I think I said to someone I would rather see a bear during the day than a cat. And I would rather hear a cat rustling around my tent at night than a bear. Because I think I've had 2 bear encounters, both black bears without any cubs, and they seemed really skittish to me. Like, they just did not want to be bothered. It's just like, you get big, you yell at them, they seem to run away. I don't know if a cat would do that. I've never had a cat encounter, but I feel like I would much. And then at night, it's like, I don't want to be trapped in my tent with like a hungry black bear that is more of a scavenger type animal, creeping and sniffing and sticking its snout in my tent. And then I feel a cat would just kind of lurk around. It wouldn't really bother me. It would just kind of prowl out there and then buzz off. So who knows? But yeah, I know a lot of people that hunt those cougars, and I posted that picture of someone hunting them, and I got a few people that that wanted to talk to me about that. A few people that were not so much for the hunting of cougars. I'm not sure why we hunt cougars. I was never against it. I'm not a hunter, but I think it plays a I know enough to think it plays a big role in the ecosystem and the conservation of areas, but wolves are a similar creature. For some reason, we reintroduced wolves back in the early 90s, which I probably wouldn't have done, but now that they're here. And from what I've seen and the research I've seen, which is just a little bit, they seem to be a positive impact on the ecosystem to this point. Now, they are making babies like crazy, like at way too rapid of a pace. And by last count, there was a little bit over 1,500 of them. And from what I'd seen, like that's pretty much the max this state can hold, like 1,500 of them. They just need such a big area, and there's no predators. So in my mind, I was like, well, to control that, we should, I don't know how I'm on wolves. I guess I got from cougars to wolves. Well, in my mind, we should control the wolf population through hunting. I mean, if we're going to be the only predators to them are us, and we can't have thousands of them. So that seemed like logical to me. And then our government came out and was like, all right, we're going to just decimate this population back down to like 150 with like trapping and like all this nasty stuff. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? Like, and I know we're just run by ranchers. Like Idaho's this whole state is run by ranchers, if you didn't know. And I'm like, why did we reintroduce them if we're just going to like murder them? And if we're going to just murder them down to 150, how is that going to solve the issue? Because they're immediately just going to get right back up to 1,500. So I don't know. I don't understand that whole dilemma with the wolves, which takes me into cougars. I guess cougars probably don't have much of a predator. I mean, what's a predator to a cougar? And I know a lot of the outfitters here love hunting them. And I'm guessing that's why we hunt them, to keep their numbers in check. So, I don't know. Interesting side plot. But yeah, I wouldn't want to see a cougar. But there were those tracks out there. And I really was not... Because this hike was so easy in my mind, I was really ill prepared for it. I don't know if you've done this before, but for something like the Sawtooth, when I'm going to go there, I over prepare because I know shit can happen out there. It's like you can get caught in an avalanche, you can get lost, you can definitely die of hypothermia. There's wolves there, you know. So for this one, I was just kind of like threw my stuff in the car and went out. So normally I take a paper map, like I print out my hiking instructions, I take a paper map, I obviously have my compass, and then what I really rely on is the Garmin and the route from Google Earth that I've plotted. So first thing I did was I didn't plot the route. So I just looked it up on Google Earth and I was like, all right, there it is. I'm told that there's good markings in Scott's book. He's like, you take a road to this road. I'm like, all right, I'm following a road. There's a real cookie cutter type thing. So I didn't map it out on the Garmin. And then I went to go make copies of this and the map, which is in this book, you know, the map. And my printer was out of ink, and it's like, whatever, I don't need the map, I'm not going to get lost. And so I didn't print out any instructions. So then I go out there, and I have left my Garmin at home. My phone is almost dead, not like it works out there. And I had also left a phone charger by the time I was out there. So the time I was out there, I had no maps, and all I had was my phone. Oh, that's why it was interesting with the phone. I had fortunately with the phone, like taken pictures of this, which is something you can do. Just take a little screen grab of your map, and then you're good to go. So my phone was about to die. So I was actually pretty lost, like worried about getting lost quite a bit on this trip. And especially because the trail was just, it's like you're just following a creek, and at some point you got to turn up into the mountains and figure it out. So let's pull up Google Earth here and I'll show you what I mean. Bam. All right, so let's pull way out here. Here's Boise right there. And then in here is the trailhead. So here's the trailhead. You can see this is the road that takes you back here. Now here's the highway, if anyone is familiar. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this area. Not this area, but Idaho, if you're checking in here. There's like Blacks Creek area. The shooting range is right here. If you don't know about this shooting range, this is where you go if you're a Boise resident. A lot of Boise residents go to shoot guns. And if you grew up in Idaho, this is the area where you went out with your buddies with a shotgun and shot whistle pigs, which I definitely did. I'm country like that, can't you tell? Definitely have snow tires on if you're going to do this time of year. They don't, at some point, this road right about here, when you turn here, they stop maintaining it, so there is snow. I got great snow tires put on my truck, and with studs and everything, man, the technology on snow tires has come a long way. I usually don't get snow tires because you don't really need them if you're just in Boise, but with all the trails I'm trying to get to this year, I really wanted them this year, and it's nice. They're nice to have. There's a lot of trailheads back here. This is your little drive, and yeah, to the trailhead, it's a real, look at all these trails. You could see them too. It's about an hour from downtown Boise to get to this trailhead. If you zoom in here, I bumped into some people that were fishing back here. Whoa, whoa. At the trailhead, there's this bathroom area, so this is where you'll park. There's a bathroom right there if you need to relieve yourself. I was so ill prepared, I forgot toilet paper too, so I grabbed some from that bathroom. Be more prepared, John. And you can see how I mapped this out. Not at all. Just have a couple pins here, which I threw in to help me with this live stream. But yeah, the big thing about this is that you cross this creek. There's a little gate here, and then it's all about going back and forth along this creek. And if you are going to do this, obviously make sure you have the right footwear. I've been preaching that the last couple weeks. I did a video on footwear. It's really worked for me. I won't belabor the point. The other thing you could also do if you wanted to go just play back here and not do the camping thing, if you just wanted a sweet hike, this is where I came out. So you can go up this way and you don't have to deal with the creeks. This could just be a fun little day hike. So you can see that this trail really goes back into the mountains. Now, definitely be careful. Like, don't get lost back here. Don't be like me and be an idiot. If you look at it and you're like, okay, there's all these trails and they're very well marked. But if you look at this area, like this is just, like, you can see how you can get turned around and then all of a sudden you're over here somewhere and you're like, so make sure that you take the precautions, have a little map, have your app or whatever you take. Don't just run out there and be an idiot like I am. But if you want to miss these stream crossings, there's just miles of trails back here. And they're all marked. So I think this one is like, they're all marked with the 400s along this Willow Creek. So it's trail 410, I believe, that follows the creek. And then up this way It's like Trail 411. And what I was trying to do was go from 410 to 412 to 411 and back around. It's this 7.2 mile loop. So I followed this creek along here. You can see that the trail is just kind of level on the creek, and you guys saw the video. I mean, this is what your crossing will look like. Just a bunch of stream crossings. And this creek is deep, especially when I went, because, I mean, you know, this is like Boise type temperatures and stuff out here. And if you know Boise, which I'm sure most of you do, like snow doesn't stick here. So you get all this snow and then it melts, and that creek is pumping pretty hard this time of year. So it's not like deep where you're gonna drown or, you know, get into serious trouble. But if you fall in, you know, you'll get wet. So I always wear rain pants and my rain jacket. I don't know if you guys hike that way in the winter, but everything is always so wet and just dripping on me. It feels like it's always raining. I have a soft shell under that too, which is kind of waterproof, but not like the hard shell. So I go hard shell, soft shell, and then any kind of like fleece is under that. And I find that really helps. It's like your rain gear. So if you've got rain gear, I definitely recommend that. My girlfriend hikes in her ski pants. I don't know. I guess I don't see any problem with that. So yeah, you could see definitely how you could get lost back here. I mean, it's a big area. I was so surprised about this mountain range and how big this area was, especially with the drone. You get this great vantage point with the drone, but I was like, holy cow, I didn't even know this existed back here. So yeah, you just follow this creek on that. I just followed this creek on day one, and it's super fun. I mean, I wasn't kidding about the floor is lava thing. I was just having a blast trying to figure out those little creek crossings. I just watched The Alpinist, and that's our second movie for our podcast that we're trying to get off the ground. Holy cow, is that a lot of work doing a podcast? I mean, just trying to figure it all out and get it dialed in and get it live. I have been putting in hours, weeks, not weeks, probably a week. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good. At least we're putting the work in. Always put the work in. You know, if you put the work in, it'll be good. So anyways, I just followed this. There's not too much camping. I mean, I was kind of looking like, all right, where can I find this? Where can I find a good camping spot? And, you know, right here was kind of one. It's like, meh. Right here was another one. I actually went and looked at putting my tent right there. But I didn't. And because I wanted to get some miles in. So I kept going, just following this creek. Eventually I got to here. I will come back to that pin in a second, but there was another campsite right by here that I looked at. Right down in here was kind of camping. So if you want to give it a shot, there is camping down there. Obviously the creek is running if you want some water. It's obviously a little bit warmer over here. You're not in the high mountain range. So what I ended up hitting was this campsite. This is where my tent was. You can actually kind of see. So let's see if I can find the shot. Oh, okay, there it is. So you can see this shot right here. Now picture that. That was from right here. This is where the camera is at that point. Right there, looking down here, and there's this big, you can see the open area, and I put my tent right in there. Really digging this tent, by the way. This MSR Access 3. Someone asked me last time, why'd I get the 3 instead of the 2? I am a big fan of, I made this mistake when I was first started, but like when I first started, I think my first 2 tents were 1-person tents. I always think, because I mean, you're like, okay, I mean, it's going to be me mostly. I would always say start with a bigger tent than what you'll actually need. One, you're going to like the more room, and two, you never know when you're going to have someone that you're going to want to take, you know, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, just a buddy. I mean, who knows? And not everyone has a tent, so I think it's always start with like a tent up, a size up. And when you're winter backpacking, you almost need a space for your gear. Like your gear has to kind of go into the tent. It's not even like in the vestibule. It's not really a good place. So with the 3, I have a place for gear and I have a place for a person. And so it looks big when it's just me, but I still like that. I know it's like a 4-pound tent. And yeah, I could have done with the 2 and saved a little room. But for my first winter tent, you know, most of my friends that are like Brett or my buddy Andrew that I'm going out with soon, it's like most people don't have a winter tent to go with you. So I always go for the size up, just my thing. If you're wondering why someone asked why I got the 3 instead of the 2. That's why. But I'm digging this tent, and this fire was more for show than anything because I couldn't keep that freaking thing lit. Everything is so wet. Oh, this is a big thing that I did. Okay, so let's get into some gear talk. Everyone likes the gear talk. All right, so if you've noticed, I have been using this pad. This is the Cedar Summit Ether Light Extreme. Okay, so with all my research so far, I think there's pretty much 2 winter sleeping pads that you should go with now. I heard there was another over 6 that and all the reviews I've seen show that it's shitty, so I didn't even put a note in on it. So there's this, and there's the Therm-a-rest that you saw in this video. Okay, this is the Cedar Summit Ether Light Extreme. It is obviously big. All right, these are also the large versions. I have to have a large version because, you know, your boy's tall. This is the Therm-a-rest. Look at the size difference on these. Holy cow. Let me try to squeeze this bag. This bag isn't even like, this thing is popping out of the bag. This thing is not. Look at the size difference on these things. Let me just put them next to my head. Holy cow. Okay, so I did find the Therm-a-rest. I was using this. This is a good pad. I like this pad. I actually think this pad is more fun. It's more comfortable. I'm gonna do a full review on these eventually. It's like it's really thick, obviously. That's why it's so big. I think it's 4 inches thick. It is a thick pad. And for that reason, I find it to be like more comfortable to sleep on. So let's just take temperature out and you're just talking comfort. This is more comfortable. I am a side sleeper. I've never slept so well on my side. Because, you know, if you're a side sleeper, all your weight goes into that one just point on your sleeping pad. So you kind of like get down, almost touching the floor. And this thing is it just like cradles you. Now, I wasn't sure I thought this thing was warm. Okay, I was getting a good night's sleep on this. I thought it was warm. I thought there were a couple of like points. Just like sometimes I'd be laying on my back and I would like a point or 2 on my back. I'd be like, man, is that like a cold spot or something on my back? I wasn't even sure at the time. Come to find out, just the technology in this, if you move a lot, the air moves in the pad. So I'm going to butcher this science here, but apparently the air in this is like trapped in these like little cells, okay? And so as your body heats those cells on like a small level, that's how the pad stays warm. And when you move, air moves, kind of mixes the cold back in the hot. It gets a little gets a little cooler before you settle down and you warm it back up. That was a real terrible, unscientific way for me to explain it, but that's kind of the basics of that one. This one is more like there's this like almost, this is so bro science. It's almost like this sheet that goes in the middle of it. Like think of like a piece of aluminum foil, and it reflects the cold air down and your body air back up to you. So think of the air in two separate layers. And for some reason, that technology is the bread and butter of this thing and why everyone uses this thing in the winter. And when I slept on this, I was shocked by how warm it was. I was just shocked. It isn't as comfortable. It crinkles and stuff, but it is a hell of a lot warmer. Again, this one's more fun. I got the new pillow, that down pillow, the Sea to Summit down pillow. By the way, it's a $70 pillow and it's kind of worthless. It is warmer and it is a nice pillow. I will give it that. For $70, it better be a damn nice pillow. But it is a nice pillow, and that down is nice. I was talking to Dan today. He uses that big Therm-a-rest. I have one upstairs. He takes 2 of them with him. I'm like, dude, you got it. The best pillow is the Sea to Summit down pillow, but it's $70. So this thing is warmer, it's lighter. This thing is more comfortable. Now, you are not going to find one of these, all right? This thing is just, it's out of stock everywhere. What I did was I signed up for a notification on Therm-a-rest website so that they would send me an email when they had some in stock. And as soon as I got that email, I bought one. I didn't even really need it. This thing is like $250. This thing is like $190. And they sold out like the next day. And I was getting hit up like, oh, how do I have it? Now, someone told me they wouldn't buy from Therm-a-rest because like he's been trying to return something to them and he cannot get anything returned to them. That is kind of the bummer. That's why I preach REI so much. Just the return policy is better. And you can find one of these right now, today, on REI for $190. So I do think that this thing, if you want to like get into winter backpacking right now and ride out the season, get one of these and then maybe pick one of these up for next season. I also think if you are, some people say they winter backpack with a cot. It's like, Jesus. Or you're winter car camping or yeah, you got a cot or you're winter car camping or something like that. I think this one might be better if you're off the ground. I don't know. I just like it. So these are the 2 pads I got. That's the gear talk. Sorry, I was long-winded there. You know me, I love gear. And I just got done talking to Dan Becker, so I'm all hyped about gear. So yeah, I took that pad out, which is me using it. This inflatable bag too for the Therm-a-rest is garbage. The Sea to Summit one is awesome. I thought that the Therm-a-rest one would work just as well. Nope. So if you get the Therm-a-rest, you're probably gonna want one of those little things that pumps it. I think that's another like $30, which kind of sucks. So yeah. Let me pop back over here to Google Earth. Should we hit the chat? I'm so scared of the chat right now. It looked like a great time. How cold did it get? It didn't get that cold. I guess that's another thing. I'm not really sure. I mean, I thought the Therm-a-rest was super warm. It wasn't as cold as what I've experienced with the Sea to Summit. So I've used the Sea to Summit in, the Sawtooth, where it got down to like 19, or it was colder than that. It was like 15. So I was nitpicking that a little bit with that kind of cold temperatures. The Therm-a-rest I was using in like, I don't know what it was, like 25 or something like that. I think for Yeah, if it's going to go down to the negatives, which it's going to start getting into now, I'm going to be out next weekend. It should be like -6 where I'm going is what I read. I'm just going to take the Therm-a-rest. But I'm going to have another thing when I go next weekend. I'm going to have this thing, this big thing, which is a stove. Yeah, you can see it. I'll get into that more in a second. But so I should be warm. How are you going to take that backpacking, John? Yeah, I know. I'll tell you. Back to the. So there's my campsite right there. So I woke up the next day and kind of got lost. Not going to lie. I walked down this track, this place, following the Cougar Trail, and I was trying to find Trail 412. And I came across this trail, and it wasn't 412. I was almost out of battery. I really didn't know, battery for my phone. I didn't know where I was. And so looking at it, you can see it looks like there's so many trails back here, but it looks like it takes you up and here, and then there's another trail that you can connect with and start heading back. There's all these trails. Look at them. Like, if you're gonna plan your own time out here, I might and if you have a Garmin or something, so this is like a how to hike. You're gonna kind of have to how to hike yourself. How to plan your own hike is to plan your own hike, because there's all these trails, all these different pathways. I would recommend you get on here, and if you want to do something, kind of map it out yourself and take your Garmin out. I think that's would be the most fun way to do it. So just being responsible, I did not take this path, which I thought I was. I think the loop I was gonna do was like up here, up around this thing. You can see there's a trail way up here. Way up here, look at that. Gosh, that would be fun. Be on top of the world up here. And come back around to my trailhead. But I didn't do that. So I decided, I knew that this, because I had passed it the day before, was trail 411, and that 411 took me back to my car. So after I got here, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should stop following these cougar tracks into the dark unknown. So I doubled back down to my campsite and came to this, and this is this gnarly hill you can see right here that you climb up, 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 and then there's this ridge. Let me pull up the video again. Oh yeah, talking to Therm-a-rest. Yes, John, say your piece. You can see all the signs though. These are the signs you'll see out there, 400, 410, all that. So this is me hiking up that ridge we just saw, and then, yeah, there's the cougar track. So this right here, bam. So that spot right there is this. This is where that ridge is, you can see. Wait. Pull this around. Honestly, I do these live streams because, you know, I like chatting, and also because I like playing with Google Earth. So this is that ridge that I'm walking on right there. There's the trailhead. That's 411. It's a pretty good solid loop. So if you want to do what I did, and it's even less than the 7.2 miles, you could come down, you could play your Floor is Lava game. Stop it, computer. All the way to 411. You'll see the sign 411. At 411, there's an area to camp. You can see kind of around this area, kind of around this area. You can make camp, and then you can hike up the next day. Or you can do this all in a day. That is not a problem at all. So I hiked along this. You come up, up, up. you will meet with another trail right here. I have that in the video. So what trail is that? Trail is, zoom ahead my pretty drone footage too. Yeah, so I was hitting what? 411 to 410. Sorry, I'm just giving someone a seizure right now with my skipping. Yeah, so I was on 410 and then I made it to 411. Look at that. I'm still lost. So you see the sign of 410 and then you go to 411. God, I hope that no one gets injured. Don't sue me if you get lost out there and eaten by a cougar. But that's where I made the turn right here. And then you go down, go back down, come back up, all the way up here. Right here, I finally found 412. So this is 412 that leads way up here. Glad I didn't try to figure out where that was. And back down, all the way back down to the car. I got lost again. Yeah, it takes you right back here, all the way back here, back around, back here, and all the way to Willow Creek. And there you have it, folks. Willow Creek Trail, how to hike. Any comments? So, I bought a bell tent. So I had that damn teepee tent with the stove in it. And I was like, you know what? This thing sucks for backpacking, but it would be really cool for like a short trip, like to have a tent with a stove to set up for like a base camp. So I bought this big bell tent and I've got cots and I've got this big stove. I had it in my backyard for Christmas, getting it all set up and like a real stove that I can actually put wood in. Oh, there's some girth to that. And so that's what I'm doing for New Year's. I'm going to take that bell tent out with Brett. We're going to go behind Brundage to the Hazard Lakes. And I'm going to set up at one of the Hazard Lakes. And then we'll snowshoe to the upper Hazard Lake the next day. Sorry, told you, cold. And test that all out. I tried to get a sled. It hasn't come in yet. I ordered it from Cabela's, a big ice polk sled and a harness and everything. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Lay on some cots. If anyone is up in McCall for New Year's, we are going to be at Forrester's for New Year's Eve. And you're like, wow, that shitty dive bar in McCall is not shitty anymore. The owner of Hotel McCall bought it this year and he has redone it and it's super cool. I was up there doing a video and some photos of it. Really cool bar top that he's redone. He's got a room with this really high-tech golf simulator in it. Like, I'll have to post a picture or something of it where you can actually play like an 18 rounds of golf on this golf simulator. Yeah, with your own clubs. Like actually swinging, actually hitting a real golf ball, and you can play any course in the world that hits a mat. So it's a real cool spot. We're going to be there. Check it out if you're up in McCall for New Year's. This was a much more mellow live stream than last week. I enjoyed this. This was fun. This was better. This was relaxing. I enjoyed our chat. Instead of last week, everyone yelling at me. What? You don't like North Idaho? I didn't say that. I just said that you guys are weird and you yell a lot, so. Sorry. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think I'm going to get out of here, have some tea, and enjoy the snow. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching. See you next time.